Hello everybody and welcome to the Get Unstuck series with myself, Sarah Archer. I am a career and leadership coach, and if you haven't joined me before, let me just tell you what I do. So I work with female leaders to help them create the kind of career success that's right for them, whether that's through career advancement, career change, or having more impact and influence in their existing roles. So if you are here with me live, please do say hello. Let me know that you're here. It's great if you are making the time to join me for these 15-minute windows to think about your career and your leadership challenges. So I created the Get Unstuck series because I know when I was a leader, it was very hard to find the time and the headspace just to think about my career development, my leadership development. And so I thought if I do these 15-minute sessions every 2 weeks, it just gives you a little bit of time to think about something that could be related to your career, to get ideas, to get practical tools or techniques to try out. And so they're every 2 weeks, except in August. I'm going to take a bit of a break in August and I'll be back early September. But I do have a podcast as well called Unstuck and Unstoppable, which covers a lot of the same issues that I cover in the live, and that will be running through August. So if you need to have some inspiration around your career, you can access that, and I'll put a link for you so you can find the podcast. And obviously, if you've got questions about the topic that we're talking about today, please do post them and I will answer them either as we're going along or I'll come back at the end to answer them. And if you're watching on replay, which I know a lot of you do, hello. And again, just tag me in the comments and I'll come back and answer the question for you. So today we're talking about how to create a personal board for your leadership career. And if you have a personal board already, let me know, pop that in the comments. But it's a really powerful tool and it's not something that we're perhaps always consciously thinking about. So I thought today it would be useful to talk about why a personal board can help you and run through the different types of people you can think about having on your particular personal board to help you create career success. So a personal board is obviously, it's very similar to the organisational board. So the board of trustees, the board, the executive board that organisations have. It's helpful to guide the strategy, make good, robust decisions, get different perspectives. And that's what they can do for your career as well. They can help you make your career decisions. They can help you get different perspectives, and they can help you with your career strategy, keep you motivated, keep you visible, encourage you, and give you the support that you need to create the kind of career success that is right for you, and make it more enjoyable. You know, often we feel like we have to go it alone, don't we? That we have to just do it all ourselves. But actually thinking about having a board can just make the whole career journey more enjoyable because we're bringing people along with us who are aligned with us, who want us to succeed and be successful. And that just makes it a much more pleasant experience. So I'm going to share with you now the different categories and types of people you can have on your board. And this is based on a really great book called Who is in Your Personal Boardroom by Zella King and Amanda Scott. So if you want to find out more about these roles and how you can engage people to perform those roles for you, then grab a copy of their book. It's fantastic. And again, I'll put a link for you so you can find it easily. So they basically came up with 12 different roles in 3 categories. And as I'm talking through the roles with you, you might want to just do a little review in your head about, okay, who do I have who might be fulfilling one of those roles already? And what might my gaps be? The caveat to this, of course, is that you don't need all 12 at the same time. It depends on what's going on for you. You might only have 1 or 2 at a particular time, and you might change the roles as you are developing in your career. Also, one person can fulfill more than one role for you. So yeah, just have a think about who might be doing this already for you as I talk you through the different roles, and also notice perhaps what you hadn't thought about that you could actually find useful in terms of having somebody in a role. So the categories are, we've got information roles, we've got power and influence roles, and we've got development and support roles. So again, you can see perhaps why there are different categories for different types of, why there are different categories for different stages in your career. So the information roles, the first role we've got is the inspirer. So they are people who can kind of help you in terms of your creative thinking. So they can inspire you, they can get you excited about your function or about your career development. They can help you think about what's possible for you. And they can just be kind of inspiring in terms of where you want to be in your career, and also, creating ideas together. And they can be great if you feel you're stuck, or maybe you're plateauing in your career. They can just help inject that kind of excitement and positivity around what you might do next. Then we've got the expert, which can also be very similar to a mentor. So you might already have a mentor, or you might have had a mentor in the past. The expert can obviously share technical and industry insight with you. So they can be a great sounding board. You can learn from them. They can give advice in your sector, and they can really understand the world in which you work, because they've probably trodden that path, and they know the challenges that you face. They know what you might be up against in your career, and they're just there for you in terms of that technical or industry expertise. Then we've got the navigator, and they help you understand how systems and organisations work. So they can be great for navigating internal politics. So they can kind of tell you about who's who in the organisation and where the power really sits in the organisation. It might not be always around job title. And they can also help you think about finding the right next role for you. They can help you navigate your industry. So they're your information roles: inspirer, expert, navigator. Then we've got the power and influence roles. So the first one there is the connector. So they open up opportunities and new networks for you, and they can make introductions as well. So they can be really useful at opening doors for you, either for your function in terms of what you're doing, but also for the future in terms of potential other roles or opportunities. Then we've got your sponsor, and sponsor, different to the mentor. They are somebody who advocates for you behind the scenes. So they'll be endorsing you, they'll be singing your praises, they'll be suggesting you for potential opportunities. So they're a really great person to have in terms of your progression. And they can see the difference you make and the potential that you have, and they're willing to sponsor you essentially within your organisation, or possibly in your industry too. Then we've got the unlocker, and they can be the person who helps you access people, resources, money, time. So, we've all had things we've been working on that have got stuck or blocked, or where resources have been pulled, and you're not able to kind of have the impact that you want to. The unlocker can be a really great person to just clear out what the blocks might be for you. And then we've got the influencer, who's similar to the sponsor. They're kind of working behind the scenes to gather support for you. So again, it might be, you're going to present something to the senior leadership team or the board in terms of a project. Your influencer might have been paving the way for that to be agreed without too much resistance. Because there are power and influence roles. So we've got the connector, the sponsor, the unlocker, and the influencer. And then we've got development and support roles. So the first one of these is the challenger. And this is somebody who basically thinks very differently to you. And so they push you out of your comfort zone. They might challenge your decisions or your way of thinking or your approach. So they can make you feel really uncomfortable, But in terms of developing as a leader, they are great because they really force you to consider different perspectives and different ways of approaching things. Then we've got the improver, who offers really honest but constructive feedback to you. So they tell you how things are landing, how you're coming across, and where your blind spots might be. So again, from a development point of view, they are really useful to have. And then we've got the cheerleader stroke anchor. So they kind of remind you about your strengths, your purpose, why you're doing what you're doing, what your values are, and they hold you to account and help you to stay motivated to keep going. So again, from a development point of view, they're great because, you know, we all have times when things are a bit up and down, and they can help you move through some of the downs by reminding you of, actually, you've got these really great strengths, this is aligned to your values, there's a reason you're doing this. So, like I said, you can probably see that the one person could play multiple roles for you. But it is interesting to think about who do you have already, even if you haven't done it in a conscious way. So I was just reflecting on when I was a leader, and this was definitely not a conscious thing about having these people on my board. But when I look back now, I can see when I worked as an HR director, I knew the director of fundraising thought in a very different way to me. And I'd quite often seek her out and just tell her about the things that I might be proposing from an HR point of view to the senior leadership team, and get her perspective on it before it got to that team, so that I could understand, you know, perhaps what I might not have thought about or a different way of approaching it. And just, it was really valuable. So she was definitely fulfilling that kind of challenger role for me. And I really valued that. And then I also, in the same role, had a member of the board who was a trustee who had an HR background. And I used to seek her out again when I knew there were things going to the board of trustees that had an HR focus, and I would, you know, get her buy-in before it got there. So again, she could be an influencer for me. She could be behind the scenes, smoothing things out, just letting people know this was coming, and just fulfilling that role for me. So she was definitely kind of fulfilling that influencer role. And then in a different organisation, I know that I definitely called upon the executive assistant to the chief exec to be my navigator. So she really helped me, particularly when I was new in the organisation, understand the power dynamics in that organisation and the kind of internal politics, and be able to navigate them successfully. So it was really useful just to think about, where did I actually have some people on my personal board, and how did I utilise them? And so you could probably recognise some people already that you might be utilising as part of your personal board. But again, it's being maybe more conscious about it now and more intentional about it. So the kind of approach to take when you've thought about who the roles are that you have already is to notice the gaps. So really thinking about, okay, what don't I have that would be really, you know, useful for me? So I think a lot of people don't have a challenger because that's quite an uncomfortable role to call upon. So it might be that you think you would really value having a challenger or an improver on your personal board. Or you might recognise, actually, what I really need is, I need a sponsor, because some of the things I'm trying to push through are not landing with senior leadership, and I need to get somebody to actually be helping me to get those initiatives agreed. So the first thing is to do a review. Who do I have already? What are the gaps that I don't have that I think I would need right now? Or what are the gaps that I might need in the future that I might start laying the groundwork for now? The second step is obviously to identify people who could fulfill those roles for you. So thinking broader than, you know, close friends, family, and, you know, immediate line manager, who might not be appropriate anyway, but just think about, okay, ex-colleagues who might be doing other things in the industry now, ex-line managers that I still have a good relationship with, or members of the senior team in organisations I've worked in that I have a good relationship with, peers, mentors, external voices. So maybe there's somebody, you know, even on the LinkedIn community that you follow, that you're just thinking, gosh, they're really inspiring to me. I'd love to maybe work with them on a closer basis. So it's just recognizing who is out there that I would really like to work with through kind of my personal board. And you don't have to be formally inviting people to be part of your personal board unless you feel that would be an enticing way to kind of get them to say yes. It doesn't have to be so formal. It could be just about getting them to be willing to participate in a two-way dialogue that could be helpful for both of you. So going into it when you're reaching out to those people with a what can I do for you as well as what can you do for me can be a really great way of making it more accessible, because sometimes we feel we don't want to ask for help, but actually if we're doing it in a reciprocal way it can make it easier. But obviously when you're thinking about reaching out, it is about thinking how can you engage those people with your career, because you want people to be interested in your career, what you're doing, for them to see the potential that you have, for it to be a kind of worthwhile investment for them to think about how they can support you within your career. But also remembering that lots of people like to give back in their career. And so if you're reaching out to somebody who's maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of you in your leadership career right now, the fact that they may have taken a similar journey to you might be quite engaging for them to think about how they could help you. And I think it's always nice to think, if I was being approached by somebody who might be 2 steps below me in my career, what would resonate with me? What would make me want to say yes to getting engaged with them to be involved in their career journey? So thinking about how you might like to be approached can be a useful way of then thinking about how you might approach somebody. Which obviously brings me on to paying it forward. So you can also be thinking about what role could I play for somebody else in their career journey, and how can I pay it forward and be willing and able to support somebody else either as a sponsor, an influencer, a challenger, a cheerleader in somebody else's career journey. And obviously, like any relationship, it's about nurturing it, it's about thanking people, it's about keeping them involved, keeping them informed of what's going on, being quite specific as well about what you would hope to get from the relationship, how they can help you. Makes it so much easier if they know what you need from the relationship, and also being open to how you can help them as well. So it would be great to know from you, if you're willing to, just pop in the comments the name of the role that you think you would like to get on board now. So I'll just run through them quickly again. You've got the inspirer, the expert, the navigator in the information roles. Then you've got the connector, the sponsor, the unlocker, and the influencer in the power roles. And then you've got the challenger, improver, and cheerleader / anchor in the development roles. So let me know which role you think you would need support with, that would add to your personal board. And something you can do outside of this session is just write down maybe 3 people who already support you or who could fulfill a role for you, and maybe think about reaching out to one of them this week to either maybe thank them or re-engage with them in some way, or maybe think about beginnings of an approach, because some of these roles you might need a bit of a long lead time to kind of develop that relationship with them. So taking some kind of action to this week would be a great way of just kind of kick-starting developing your personal board. So I hope that was useful. I hope it's given you some food for thought about where you might reach out to get some additional support for your career development, your leadership development. And I'll be back, as I said, in September, early September, with the next episode in the Get Unstuck series. So have a great summer, and I will see you early autumn, which I can't believe I'm saying. So enjoy the rest of the summer, and I'll see you in September.